Loneliness after 60, the hidden pain no one talks about, to wake up to the sound of silence. No one stirs in the kitchen. No one knocks on your door. The air is still, and the walls echo nothing but your breath. You reach for your phone, number, new messages, no missed calls. And then you remember, no one is expecting to hear from you, today or any day. This isn't a tragic scene from a film. This is the everyday reality for millions of elderly people living in a world full of people, yet completely alone. Stay with me, because this isn't just a video. This is a mirror to a growing truth. Loneliness in old age is real, painful, and dangerously overlooked. What is loneliness? Let's begin by understanding a crucial point. Loneliness is not the same as being alone. There is a kind of solitude that brings peace when you choose to sit quietly, to reflect, or to rest. But then there's another kind, the kind that sits heavily on your chest, makes your evenings feel endless, and your existence feel forgotten. This kind is loneliness, not chosen, not peaceful, but a deep ache for connection, for warmth, for meaning. Loneliness expresses the pain of being alone, while solitude expresses the glory of being alone. Paul Tillich, philosopher and theologian in scientific terms, loneliness is the subjective emotional state that occurs when one's social relationships are perceived to be lacking in quantity or quality. You can be in a room full of people and still feel profoundly disconnected. You can have children, neighbors, and helpers, and yet not feel seen, heard, or valued. The science behind the pain research shows that loneliness is not just in your mind. It's a biological stressor. Dr. John Cacioppo, a leading neuroscientist in social psychology, spent decades studying loneliness. His research revealed that chronic loneliness changes the brain. It activates the same pain centers that physical injury does. Your brain can't tell the difference between a broken bone and a broken connection. Some key findings from his and others' research include: lonely people have higher levels of cortisol, the hormone linked to stress and anxiety. Sleep quality declines, making the body more prone to disease. Immune system weakens, increasing vulnerability to illness. Memory and attention decline, especially in those over 60. Loneliness is a warning system, like thirst or hunger. It tells us something vital is missing. John Cacioppo, neuroscientist in fact, a meta-analysis published in Perspectives on Psychological Science found that loneliness increases the risk of early death, 26%. That's worse than smoking 15 cigarettes a day, worse than obesity, worse than alcohol abuse. Let that sink in. Loneliness doesn't just hurt, it kills. Why the elderly are especially at risk as we age? Several factors converge. The elderly particularly vulnerable to this silent suffering. Let's break this down. 1. Loss of a spouse or loved one. For many older adults, the loss of a spouse isn't just the end of a relationship, it's the end of a shared daily life, a routine, a source of conversation and comfort. Each passing friend, sibling, or partner adds to the void. Retirement and social role loss is not just about income, it gives us structure, purpose, and people. After retirement, many seniors feel disconnected from society. No meetings, no co-workers, no project, just silence. Physical health and mobility, joint pain, heart conditions, and poor eyesight make it difficult to travel or socialize. Even going out for tea with a friend becomes a physical challenge. Children living far away in today's globalized world. Adult children often move abroad. Their busy careers, families, life, calls become brief. Visits become rare. Suddenly, what was once a full house becomes a museum of memory. We are all so much together, but we are all dying of loneliness. Albert Schweitzer, Real World Glimpse. A story of silence. Let me introduce you to Mr. Abdul Karim, 74 years old. He lives in Lahore. Once a school principal, now he lives alone. His wife passed away 3 years. His son moved to Australia. His daughter is in the US. His day begins with tea, which he drinks. Staring at the empty chair across the table, he feeds the birds, not because it's tea, but because it gives him someone to talk. He doesn't ask for me. He doesn't ask for me. He just wishes for a little, just a message, a phone call, a shared, a few minutes of someone's part to the psychological weight of loneliness. As we continue our journey into the inner world of elderly loneliness, we must now explore a deeper, often hidden layer, the psychological and emotional toll it. Loneliness does not sit on the skin, it burrows deep into the heart and 1. Depression. The invisible companion depression is one of the most common and most dangerous effects of chronic loneliness. According to the World Health Organization, over 7% of people over 60 suffer from depression, but this number is likely underreported because many seniors suffer in symptoms of depression in older adults can include loss of appetite, fatigue, and disturbance, withdrawal from social activities, or confusion, a sense of hopelessness. Many people, including family members, often dismiss these signs as just old, but this is not. This is emotional stun. Depression is being colorblind and constantly told how colorful. Atticus Powhatan, elderly woman, may sit on her balcony for hours, not out of peace, but because she has nothing and no one to turn to inside. 2. Cognitive decline and dementia. Chronic loneliness doesn't just hurt emotionally, it actually changes brain function. In 2018, a study in the Journals of Gerontology found that lonely seniors are 40% more likely to develop dementia. Why? Because human interaction is like exercise for the brain. Without it, the brain's neural connections begin to weaken. Memory, attention, decision-making all start to decline faster in isolation. Dr. Nancy Donovan, a geriatric psychiatrist at Brigham and Women's Hospital, explained, loneliness is associated with faster cognitive decline, independent of other health conditions. So when an elderly person repeats a story or forgets a face, it might not just be aging, it could be the result of years of quiet suffering. 3. Increased risk of suicide in the elderly. One of the darkest outcomes of prolonged loneliness is suicidal thoughts, and sadly, suicide itself. Many don't realize this. Older adults, especially men, have the highest suicide rates in many countries, according to the CDC. In the US, men aged 75 and older have a suicide rate almost double the national average. Why? Because they often feel forgotten, useless financially, dependent physically, weak emotionally, invisible, and worst of all, burdensome. The most terrible poverty is loneliness and the feeling of being unloved. Mother Teresa. 4. The loss of identity and purpose. Ask yourself this: who are you when the world no longer needs you? Many elderly people grapple with the loss of purpose. Their roles as parents, workers, and caregivers are behind them. Now, they are no longer the ones others rely on. They are the ones relying. This reversal of roles is emotionally crushing, and society is partly to blame. We often celebrate youth and productivity while treating old age as a burden instead of a blessing. In Japan, the concept of ikigai, meaning a reason to wake up in the morning, is part of why they have one of the longest-lived populations in the world. When an elder has purpose, they live longer, healthier, and happier. But when they lose that, when they feel forgotten, ignored, dismissed, life becomes not something to be lived, but endured. Real-world glimpse. The story of Bano Antilet. Me share with you another true story. Bano, auntie, age 81, lives in a quiet apartment in Islamabad. She was once a professor of Urdu literature. Her books still line her shelves, but now, her days are filled with silence. She tried joining a neighborhood group, but found herself unable to keep up with their fast-paced conversations. She tried calling her daughter in the UK, but time zones and tight schedules often made the calls short, rushed, and unsatisfying. She once said, "I taught hundreds of students, but now, not even one remembers my birthday." This is the fate of many educated, once respected seniors. Invisibility, not because they don't matter, but because we have forgotten how to make them feel like they do. Signs of hidden loneliness. Here's something important. Loneliness doesn't always look like sadness. Sometimes it hides behind bitterness, repeating, stressing, or undereating, constant complaints about health, irritation, and anger. Silence. When an older person complains more, calls too often, or seems difficult, they may not be they may just be connection seeking. Research spotlight the biology of loneliness. Let's bring this back to the science. Loneliness triggers a neurobiological stress response that include increased inflammatory markers in the blood, disrupted sleep cycles, reduced prefrontal cortex activity, responsible for decision-making and mood regulation. A study from UCLA found that loneliness alters gene expression, especially genes that regulate immune response. That means lonely people get sick more often and recover more slowly. This is not just in the mind. This is real, measurable, and deeply physical. The human being is the only creature who refuses to be what he is, alone. Albert Camus. Breaking the silence. What we must do now. We've walked through the emotional, psychological, and physical impact of loneliness in the elder. We've explored real stories, science, and the brutal silence that surrounds this issue. Now, the final and most important question remains. What can we do right now to stop this silent suffering? Let us not end this video in despair. Let us end it with resolve. Because loneliness is not destiny. It is a social disease, and we all carry the cure. 1. Rebuilding family connections. The family is the first, strongest, and most sacred bond in human life. And sadly, it is also the bond we often neglect most. In today's fast-paced world, we have time for emails, deadlines, voice notes, social media posts, but not enough for the voice of our parent, or the eyes of our aging grandma, or the hands of a lonely uncle who still remembers our childhood birthday. Let us bring back small, powerful action. Weekly family calls, not rushed, but visits, even short ones, but with attention, including them in decisions, weddings, vacations, even family dinner. In family life, love is the oil that eases friction, the cement that binds closer together, and the music that brings harm. Friedrich Nietzsche. Let them feel near, not because they are dependent, but because they still do. Community and social initiatives, government and society both hold responsibility. Here are practical steps communities can take. Senior social club spaces, morning tea, meetups, board games and reading pushing, classical sharing sessions, poetry, calligraphy, public transport and accessibility, or discounted transport so elders can get out of the house without burdenc. Watching groups assign each elder a friendly someone to check in weekly, not to monitor, but to talk and be. It takes a village, not just to raise a child, but to respect its elder. Bridging the technology gap while the world moves to the digital space. Our seniors are being left behind. Imagine the pain of being unable to use a smartphone to see your grandchild's face, while the rest of the family shares up on Instagram and WhatsApp. Solutions: set up free tech workshops for seniors. Then do video call bros, photos used, voice assistants, send voice notes, keep interface simple, large, clear button. One digital connection can make them feel included. 4. Reverse mentoring and purpose projects. A way to heal loneliness is to give back. Let elders become mentors for learning cultural history, craftsmanship, cooking, traditional Let children visit nursing, not as a charity gesture, but as a mutual exchange. Old age is not a phase of decline. It is a vault of wisdom that society is foolish to. The tragedy of our time is that we treat our elders as furniture, seen but not seen. Anonymous. Religious and moral responsibilities. All major honoring the elderly. In Islam, he is not of us who does not show mercy to our young ones and respect to our Prophet Muhammad. In Christian, honor your father and mother. Exodus 20:12. In Hinduism, Mtr, Deva, Pitta, Devava, mother and father are divine. Reverence for the elderly brings bliss. Is not. It is our moral foundation. And when we abandon the elderly, we abandon our value. Conclusion. A quiet revolution starts with you. Let's us and reflect, not guilt, but with love. The elderly do not ask much. Don't demand luxury, gifts, or endless. They ask for acknowledgement. They ask to be seen, not as fading shadows, but as pillars of our. This video is not just a message. Will we continue to ignore those who? Will we allow our future selves sames? Or will we act now and bring back human connection into the final chapters? Before this video ends, do just call mother, visit your mother, ask your aging neighbor if they know, teach an uncle how to use video calling, or simply sit with them in quiet company, because times just being there. We are not held back by the love we didn't receive in childhood, but by the love we've in adulthood. Leo Glia, thank you for watching. If this touched, don't stop but feeling to act, share, speak, change. Because one day, we too will. And what we do now will decide whether our future with all love.